Yeah, touching on that one moment you're speaking about with VAR and the Arsenal match. Let's move on to them. A frustrating match in this one against Brentford. I mean, it was expected. Brentford were, uh, coming off the back of I think nine consecutive matches unbeaten, and now this one makes it 10. Yo, I mean, when we took the lead, I thought, yo, this is it. Like we found our way again, and then this play now where Saliba is kind of grappling with Tony, I felt like they were both holding each other, but referee deemed it a foul, so can't say nothing about that. So when I saw that, I was really frustrated. I was like, yo, that honestly could have gone either way. Like to say Saliba was holding Tony, you could have said Tony holding Saliba, whatever. But then the big controversial decision came afterwards in the offside decision against two instances actually. One with Ethan Pinnock holding back Gabriel. I mean that's a clear block. I'll say okay if you want to be cheeky with it and make a block play like that, you're still interfering the play though. So you should be in consideration for offside or not because you're technically interfering with the play. Now some people will say that block was a foul. I don't know. It depends on the interpretation there, but whatever is the case, he should have been considered as far as interfering with the play. Then comes kind of the more blatant one, I would say, where Norgard he was offside from the flick on again from Ethan Pinnock. And apparently it came down to that they didn't draw the lines in the VAR. I don't know why they just decided that this time they're just not going to draw the lines.
No, they missed him. They didn't check that situation, and they've come out and I think they've apologized and all that. Apologizing doesn't give you 3 points, you know. I mean, okay, there's no guarantee that Brentford don't go on and score, okay, but it's just you can't you can't make that mistake. I'll be so frustrated if I were you because that should not have stood. And when I saw Arteta come out and say Arteta has his fair share of whining, you have to agree, he has his fair share of whining.
Yeah.
And I thought he was whining again, right? When he came out. And I mean I saw the goal and I thought it was off too, but I mean maybe there was something that we didn't see that showed he was clearly on. And I mean they've come out and said they did wrong. I mean it's all good, but you can't cost teams in this case 3 points. And and for them to only come out and say, "Oh, we apologize." I mean, apologize to yourselves, to the fans. You can't. I mean, fans pay however much money to go to these games. There's millions of fans watching these games, and when it comes down to those deciding the games, it's just not right. I mean, like another controversial decision this weekend, coming off of the Chelsea game. I mean, this is not even controversial. It was just plain wrong.
And as you say, of course I'm frustrated, but at this point I've seen it way too many times that like it's a recurring theme at this point. However, what's the most frustrating is that it's come in such a crucial moment where we're actually fighting for the title. And this was such a crucial game to keep at arm's length against City. And now look, the table is now saying we're 3 points ahead. We have a match against them midweek. Okay, given we do have a game in hand on them, nonetheless, so we can get back that. However, it makes this game a Wednesday extremely crucial,
Oh, and I mean, this is the biggest game of the season.
but it makes it like, as in, from what it would have been, imagine the scenario, right? We beat Everton, we beat Brentford, we're going in now, several points clear. We have a lot of cushion. Now it's like they're literally right on our backs, and is that's gonna play in the minds of the players.
Well, I mean, that's what I mean. That's why this is the biggest game of the season so far. The narrative just changes. If City win, then they go above you. I know you guys still have a game in hand, but that's just gonna be, I mean, a huge factor. in not only your players' minds, but also the manager, the fans, and the whole media now. The media is now going to portray City as a favorite. I mean, maybe they have been already, but it's just this just makes it that much bigger, this game. And I know this was rescheduled from the Queen's passing, but damn, why did they have to put it on Wednesday? Let the whole
So annoying.
let the whole world enjoy this. I mean, this is the game for the title, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, at least a big statement for it. Yeah, it's nervy. I'm not going to lie. But yo, a team that has basically just said goodbye to
Well,
any.
well, sorry. Before we move on to your rivals, I want to touch on two players. Saliba. I kind of want to gauge your opinion on him because to me, he's severely fallen off since the World Cup. I don't know what's happened at the World Cup. We know he didn't start. Varane came in after the first game, especially today against Brentford. I think if it was Saliba of 4 months ago when the season was just starting, I would say that he's not simply just clearing the ball. He would have more composure and be able to start the build-up play from him. But then this game, we didn't see that from him. And a lot of those cleared balls went straight to Brentford players because they had the physical prowess over the Arsenal players. On top of that, I know you've praised this guy, but I mean this is it. I mean, Eddie Nketiah, that this is why he's a bench player. He scored more goals than Jesus, right? But you see now that he just doesn't have the same effect as Jesus does on the rest of the squad, right? And the biggest thing that you might see is Xhaka. I think he's been way less effective, and I mean this game probably showed that too. But I think you're probably watching this game one frustrated and confused by Saliba's drop in his performances. And you know how much I rate Saliba, and I'm saying this because I know he can do better. And plus, someone that I don't rate as highly as I do Saliba, but I think this is his limitation.
Well, the thing is with Saliba is I'm actually not as shocked as you might think because I think people forget how young he is. The guy's what, like 21? Like
Yeah.
that is ridiculously young for the role that he's playing. And he's been so good so far up to this point this season. He was almost due a drop off, if you will, because you can't expect him to go the entire season flawless, right? These are learning moments for him to maintain the mentality and the fatigue really throughout the whole course of the season. I think that's what he's experiencing right now is mental fatigue, honestly. And I think that's natural. And this is a good learning experience for him to be able to last out these moments where there's a lot of games coming and the games are going to get tougher. It's in crucial periods of the season, whereas at the beginning it's maybe a little less pressure. You're still kind of feeling it out. These are crucial moments where performances become less valuable than actual results. And as far as Eddie goes now, I think I mean, I've always kind of had that perception of Eddie where, of course, he's able to score goals and he's naturally just a striker. And I think that kind of helps his rep to some degree. But as you said, when it comes to his link up play, we really miss Jesus in this one. And you can see a player who really is noticeably falling off because of Jesus's absence and Nketiah's integration into the team is Martinelli. You can clearly see that not just Jesus off the ball movement to get into wide areas, to make these drop into the midfield to allow Martinelli to take up Jesus' space, but the actual link up play itself. There was a crucial moment in this game, actually, that I wanted to highlight where Eddie had the ball and he was driving with it. It was a counter attack towards the end of the end of the first half in stoppage time. And Martinelli is running up with him. So it's 2v1 right now. And I'm just thinking, all right, Eddie, slip it through. That's all you have to do. Just simple through ball, triangle in FIFA. That's it. And Martinelli is gone. And this guy decides to dribble and just keep dribbling and then turns back and allows all the Brentford defenders to get back. And he just completely slowed the play down. But nobody is really gonna like think of that in the long term. They just look back at this match and say, "Oh, Arsenal drew, okay, but Eddie has scored however many goals in however many games, and Jesus hasn't scored." But these are the moments that Jesus's quality come out, regardless of if Jesus was to score the goal or to make the assist. Let's say Jesus plays that pass to Martinelli and ends up squaring it to Saka for the goal. The fact that Jesus played that through ball allowed the attack to free up and included everybody else in the play, and Arsenal benefited as a team. But maybe Eddie's getting the goal highlights, but it may stall us as a team. Kind of similar to Ronaldo at Man U, but I know that's kind of a whole different.
No, you did not.
I'm not comparing Eddie to Ronaldo. I'm just comparing like the
No,
fact.
you just. I mean, you just did, bro.
No, I
You
didn't.
just.
No, it's a goal. It's a contribution. It's a goal contribution as opposed to the team, the effect on the team.
I mean, that's exactly how I feel about him. He's not. He's. I mean, he's a poacher, you could say, I guess. I mean, and he's done well up to this point to win your points. I mean, I can think of the game against us. I mean, he scored the brace to get all 3 points, but this is probably it. It's just your team becomes more one dimensional with Eddie Nketiah in the squad or in the side actually. And good news for you, Jesus looks like he's on track to be back in March as predicted when he first got injured. And I'm sure he will slot right back in as soon as his fitness is back up. But Eddie's gonna have to do a bit more until then because your team becomes a bit stagnant, I feel, with Eddie in the side.
Yeah, it might. Having that said, it might be worth looking into maybe kind of changing up the system a little bit when Eddie is on the field. I was talking to a few people mentioning that what crossed my mind in this one was to bring Tierney on, not necessarily for Zinchenko. Actually, could push Zinchenko to the midfield and have Tierney out wide because he offers that width and he'd be able to get crosses into the box a lot more effectively, or at least just from that angle, able to whip it in. And with Eddie darting in, that could benefit Eddie, and maybe they could kind of develop a good partnership there. I don't know. I mean, I'm just thinking, right? Just a way to kind of shake it up. And I don't mean as a permanent shake up. I just mean maybe in moments of the game when you want something different?
Yeah, I mean, I think something needs to change. Arsenal win less than three, in two if you only consider the Premier League. So something's got to change, and it's gonna have to be quick because the next game's against City.